What is going on, guys? This is obviously Jordan here, back again with another video. Day 3, video 3. We are out here in 2021, man, grinding out these videos. Obviously, guys, I'm not going to put these videos out every day. It's going to be like a week apart. So by the time you see this, probably like, might even be February. but, we're grinding. I like that. I like how I've got a bunch of videos ready, prepared. Today, we're going to talk about credit cards, obviously for students, as I myself am a student. It's interesting because obviously, as a student, as someone with that's unemployed with a relatively low credit score, technically I got a very high one for other students, but relative to what's out there, it's quite peak. I've got an average, above average score, which is good technically, but it could be a lot better. But yeah, what that means is that I'm not eligible for everything, and I realize that a lot of other students don't even realize that they're eligible for stuff at all, which is a big no-no. Credit cards are great. Irrespective of what you heard, credit cards are actually fundamentally a good thing as long as you don't abuse them or use them wrong. They are good. They're useful tools. They're good for your credit score. All those things. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about, first of all, my 4 top tips. My 4 top tips, top picks. My 4 favorite credit cards. I only own one of these, but I'm working hard to. Well, I say that I'm not going to apply for any more right now, but yeah, I'm going to apply for 2 of these in the near future. Other than the one that I've already recommended, and other than what I already have, sorry. And yeah, I've done a lot of research into this, as with the other 2 videos I put out so far in 2021. So if you have enjoyed this, if you do find this informative, please, 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 again, smash the like button down below for the YouTube algorithm, guys. It's important. I need that fake validation. I need that instant gratification. But yeah, with all that said, let's get into it. So before I go into my 4 favorite credit cards, I want to start by telling you guys why why it's important to have a credit card in the first place. Now, as I said a minute ago, a lot of students don't realize that they are eligible for credit cards. This is actually wrong. There are actually several credit cards out. I think there's 2 specifically for students, which I wouldn't recommend getting. They're not very good. But there are also a bunch of credit cards designed for people with low credit scores, which basically applies to us anyway because we have low credit scores. And they have a lot of interesting gimmicks to kind of get you on board that I think are pretty cool, which is why, how I kind of compiled this list. But it's just good to have. I have 3 main reasons though as to why I think you should consider at least getting a credit card. Like, of course, I'm not a financial advisor. This isn't financial advice. Don't just go out and get a credit card because I told you to. But these are reasons why I think they're good and why I think you should consider at least maybe looking into it a bit further. So reason number 1 is just having a credit, just having the extra money, the credit limit, the card, the physical card in your hand, having access to that money in case of emergencies, or it shouldn't be used as an emergency fund. It's important to get that in there while I'm still talking about this topic. But obviously, it's good to have just money there available if you need it anyway. Even me today, like I got my car repaired. I don't know why my car is obviously not in the room, but I got my car repaired today. The engine management light came on. I went to get it observed and fixed, and it came up to like 100 quid. I'm like, I don't have what was like what £78 or 10 pence. It was not actually that expensive. I could have paid for it on my debit card, but I was like, nah, I'll pay for it on credit. I'll get my like nectar points, whatever. I'll get what I get out of it, and then I'll pay it back instantly as soon as I get back home. And that's basically what I've been doing for a very long time. I've been spending on a credit card, pay it back end of the month, and then I benefit from using the credit card. It's not quite the same as using it as an emergency, but just having it on the side. Like if I ever did, let's say it came up to £200, I've got about 180 in my account right now because all the bills and that just came out and rent. So I've got about 180. Let's say it came up to £200. I couldn't pay for that in cash, or I could buy into my overdraft, but overdraft has an interest rate. I can just pay for that right now on credit card. Wait a week until my student finance drops, and then clear off that debt instantly, or whatever needs to be. Worst case scenario is don't pay it back until the next month or whenever I get money again. But either way, it's just good to have that extra float on the side. Reason number 2, which to be fair should have been number 1 because it's way more important. That's probably the most important thing I can think. Well, not even I can think of. It's just the most important thing anyway. When it comes to getting a credit card at a younger age, is your credit score. Now, I will put out another video in the future addressing like the credit score more comprehensively. But for the sake of this video, when you get a credit card, well, you know what? Forget about credit card for the moment. But your credit score is compiled of like 5 key factors, I guess. And the 3 that are important here is like your credit utilization, your credit history, and also this payment history, but they kind of come in the same thing. And then your credit limit. So your credit limit is obviously how much money you have accessible to you, be it a loan, a mortgage, a credit card, which is what we're talking about in this video. Was any other like form of credit that is manageable, that is measurable, in some form of money, which obviously in this we're talking about now about credit cards. And by having a credit card in the first place, obviously most students won't have a credit, they won't have a loan because a student loan doesn't count. Most students won't have a mortgage because we're like 18 years old. This makes sense to have a house. And most of us don't have like store cards either. Some of us will have a store card, which just kind of counts as a credit card, but it's not quite the same. So we don't really have that credit limit in the first place. Just by having a credit card or multiple puts you on that ladder, gives you a low. It will be a low limit, but it will increase over time, and that's a good indicator that you have money available to you. Credit utilization is the second thing, and having a low credit utilization means that let's say you have £1,000 available to you, but you've only spent 40 on your card. That's a 4% utilization rate. That's very good. It's good to have less than 50%. Less than 30 is probably even ideal. And it's better to have, no matter what your limit is, you want to use as little a percentage as possible. And why that's important, your credit limit is important because like, if you have 50 grand used on a credit card, if your limit is 50 grand, you're using 100% of your limit. That's very bad. Whereas if your limit is 2 million, you're using like 0.4% or something. I don't know. I'm not gonna do the math in my head, but you're using a very low amount of money, which reflects quite well. So even though you're using the same amount, technically speaking, because your limit is higher, you have a lower credit utilization rate, and that's just speaks volumes. Credit history and payment history kind of come into the same thing. That just means like how long have you had this money available for you for, and how frequently have you been making those monthly payments. All those three things I will again explain in another video about credit score. This isn't the place for that one, but maximizing that with a credit card, it just speaks, like it looks very good in your credit score. Your credit score fundamentally is like how banks will observe you and be like, how responsible is this person for me to lend them money? And the higher your score is, either one, the more money you'll get, or two, the lower rates they'll charge you for interest. Both of those things are good. And when you're a student, if you are trying to move out when you graduate, it's going to be good to have a good rating at the time because otherwise you're going to be spending a lot more money than you should. But don't take that from me. Again, do your own research. You shouldn't really have to. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory what a credit limit is, a credit score is. But yeah, that's that. Point number 3, which is kind of like an overlooked one. It's not really that big a deal, I don't think, in the grand scheme of things. But is that spending on credit cards is just way better than spending on debit cards, which is way, 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 way better than spending in cash. Spending in cash is so dumb. Like, just don't. I'm not gonna explain why it's dumb. Just don't do it. Just don't spend the cash if you can avoid it. Obviously, if you're like out and you're trying to buy a kebab at Boss Man's kebab shop, obviously you're gonna need. Some of them don't take cash. Some of them don't take cards. You need cash. But even now during COVID, you don't really want to be handing over physical items. Just get a card, man. Stop paying in cash. Debit cards are decent, but credit cards are especially good because of I can't remember what the actual law is called. There's an actual thing for it. It's like a credit card protection policy or something. But basically it means that the difference between a credit card and a debit card is that when you spend on your debit card, you spend it with your own money. So if your card is stolen and someone spends money on your card, that money goes from your account instantly. Like, it's gone. As soon as it's spent, it's gone. And then when you complain about it, yeah, banks will try and get it back, but it's not really their money. They don't really care as much. It's like, yeah, like I'll put I'll text the guy. I'll be like, yo, just return it. But if you don't get it back, you don't get it back. Whereas a credit card is their money, and at the end of the month, you have to pay that back. So if you don't pay it back, well, you should pay it back. But if you're saying, look, I didn't spend that, my car was stolen, they're going to be like, crap, now we've got to get that money back. Because if he's saying it wasn't him, I mean, someone else has it, and if someone else runs up this guy's credit card, we're unlikely to get it back. We're going to have to deal with this in another way, which is kind of long for us. So they're going to be like very vigilant and get that done. As I said, there is an actual law about it. I can't remember what it's called. It's like the credit card law or something. But credit cards is way safer. And also briefly as well, like when you look at these rewards and these cashbacks and low interest rates, stuff like that, the people that are paying for that typically are the people that are spending in cash and people that are spending on credit. The money on debit, sorry, because every time you spend on a cash machine, that the machine terminal takes a cut and the bank takes a cut. So prices in general, not as much as inflation, but prices have generally increased over time because of, to circumvent those fees. They're kind of giving it back to the consumer. So if you're paying in cash, you're paying the cost of the item plus the 3% extra for no reason. You're not even using the cash, you're not even using the terminal. On debit card, you're using the terminal, but you're paying the extra money and not getting anything out of it other than maybe interest on your account. Credit card, suddenly it's a different ball game. Now you're getting extra protection, you're getting reward points, bonus points, cashback, not free money, but access to more money at a time. A lot of benefits to it, so that's just something to think about as well. But yeah, I've wasted about 10 minutes talking smack. So let's actually get into my 4 top picks and my 4 favorite credit cards. Before I start, I'm not going to tell you. Well, I will. Well, no, okay. I'm not going to tell you, but I'm not going to tell you about the interest rates because you should all be paying off your interest, your credit card every month in full to avoid paying any interest. It's not even if you find yourself looking to find, what's the APR on this, what's the APR on that, then you're probably not ready for a credit card because it's just a bad way to go about business. It ends up costing you so much more just to pay. That just don't use money that you don't have. Is that keep within your limits and pay it off in full each month to avoid paying fees. So with that said, the best card that I think you can get is the Aqua Advance credit card. The reason why I think that's very good is one, because they've got a 6%, 0% finance, 0% APR, 6-month purchase rate. So like any purchase you make in the first 6 months, you can afford to not pay off, and they won't get charged any interest on it. Obviously, don't do that. Obviously, try and pay off your debts as soon as you can. But just know that you have a 6-month cushion. It's a great way to buy the things you need to without having to immediately pay that off. It gives you 6 months to kind of look over your portfolio, or whatever, and make the relevant decisions. And then obviously do that within a 6-month period to avoid paying fees. Also, the most significant thing, I guess, is that it's designed for people with low credit scores. Not only that, but you also get a £250 minimum requirement. So like everyone who gets accepted onto this will get a minimum credit limit of £250, which is pretty cool. A lot of companies don't even offer like a technical minimum. I think there is actually a legal requirement to give like a minimum or something anyway. But Aqua is actually like, yeah, if you get accepted, it's £250, and then every 2 years or so that you make payments off in full each month, we'll lower your APR interest, which is very, very cool. It's pretty useful. So that's quite nice. Aqua was also my first credit card as well. They've been very generous to me as well. After to be fair, it's like every 6 to 8 months, they've increased my limit without me even having to ask for it. You can ask them to ask you first, but it's like I set it to just be automatic. And my limit started off at £330, I think. It's currently like 4.5 grand. After a year and a half, 2 years. So that's a lot of money to have available to me. I made the mistake of spending a lot of it, but obviously I pay it back each month. Aqua also have a lot of promotions. I'm not paid to say any of this, by the way. Obviously, I've got like 1 subscriber, but but they also every now and then they offer you 6 months of like free cash transfers. Or by the way, as I said, it's a promotion. It's not like guaranteed. Don't get the card based on what I say, but I recently, over Christmas, they said any cash you take out between like November 1st and November 30th, you can keep for like 9 months interest free. So I was like, screw it. I don't even need cash right now, but I'll take it all out. I cleared that account. I put like 4 grand in my account, paid off whatever needs to be paid. And I'm like, okay, cool. 9 months, I'll pay it back. But for now, I've got cash in hand. I can put that in the stock market. I can put that in a savings account. I can put that into I haven't bought anything, but maybe like groceries or something. I don't know. It's just good to have money in my account so I know it's there. And then, as I said, when the time is right, I will pay that off. I've got a plan to pay it off. It's not a problem. But it's a cool thing that they keep. They offer me from time to time. Now, the second best card, this actually could have been the first best, but it's not specifically designed for people with low credit. And that's the Amazon credit card. You've probably seen this around quite a lot. If you shop on Amazon, you probably see like, it's £30. But if you apply for a credit card, you can get it for £10. And the reason for that is, if you haven't already noticed, obviously to give you a £20 voucher for applying for it if you're successful, which is very, very cool. That's one thing that I think I like about Amazon that I'm going to apply for soon as well. But the main thing is that you get 150 bonus points for every £100 spent if you're on Amazon Prime. If you're not on Prime, it's £75. And if you're not spending on Amazon, if you're spending that in like Sainsbury's or whatever, you get 25 points. Each point is roughly a penny, so that adds up quite quickly. You can see that. If you spend £100 in Amazon, that's £1.50 cash back you get basically just for spending on the credit card instead of on your bank card, which is, as I said, another reason why credit cards is superior. But yeah, that's that. Not to mention the £20 voucher you get on day one, which is cool. And yeah, that's a very nice. As I said, it's not designed for people with low credit scores as much as Aqua is. It is to some degree designed for people with low credit scores. I think you need to be paid I think the minimum standard is like 10 grand a year or 12 grand a year or something to be able to apply for the Amazon card. So if you are making 12k a year, which in theory could be your student loan plus a part-time job if you're making that much. But if you are making that limit, go ahead and apply. Or don't do what I say, but you know what I mean. Let's look into it. You can get a £20 voucher and then money back for money you spend, which is pretty useful. The third option, which isn't actually as good as Amazon. Well, to be fair, obviously it's not because it's third, but it should have gone maybe lower in the list. But it's something that is designed again for people with low credit scores, and it's the Marbles dual credit card. Now, what's significant about the dual credit card name? Like the reason why I like it, I haven't got it. I was gonna get it, but it's quite similar to the Aqua card, so I thought it's not really worth getting two of the same card. But it gives you 4 months of interest-free purchases, and it gives you 7 months of interest-free balance transfers. Now, what is we talked about purchases, but what's a balance transfer? A balance transfer is, let's say you spend £1,000 on the Aqua card, and after 5.5 months, you've only paid off £500. So you've got £500 that next month's going to be charged interest on it. You can go ahead and apply for the Marbles card and then transfer that balance from one card to the other one, and then you get 7 extra months on Marbles to pay that off interest free again. I don't recommend doing that. I don't recommend doing it at all. I think it's a terrible idea. It's not clever to continually bounce around money and keep paying off, because every time you do it, even though it's 0% finance, you end up paying like a 3% balance transfer fee, which isn't really worth it. Also, it's just not good to bounce debt around. I just pay off the debt. It makes way more sense to pay it off than it is to bounce it around. But if you're in a tight spot, you can do it. I know guys who have done it. You can, in theory, to get unlimited cards and to keep doing it for as long as you're paying off the debt and for as long as you're not getting rejected. It's not necessarily a bad idea, although it kind of is. But just think twice before you do it. But but it is a cool offer that they have. I've done a similar thing before, not with Marbles, but I've got a Capital One card that gave me like 7 months or something of like balance transfer, 0% finance, 0% APR, sorry. So I transferred over. I didn't need to. I just thought it'd be cool to give myself an extra 9 months to pay something off. And then I did, of course, pay it off at the end of those 9 months. But yeah, it's something that you can do, something that I've done before. It's not something that I recommend. It's quite a bad idea unless you're really responsible and disciplined with your money. But it's something that you can do. And again, Marbles is designed for people with low credit scores, so we can all apply for it. There's no way to guarantee you'll get accepted to it. However, there are several eligibility checkers available online. I know Money Savings Expert has one. The other one, Money Supermarket, has one as well. You just enter your details, and then they'll say you have like a 20% chance of being accepted, or 90%, or 100%, 80%, whatever. But yeah, just knowing that is actually, that's probably the biggest thing before we continue as well. Making sure you actually check you're eligible first before you do it. Because if you use these checkers, it won't affect your credit score at all. Whereas if you apply for it and get rejected, that has a big negative effect on your credit score. So make sure you check it first. Don't just go out and apply because I said so. But yeah, that's card number 3. Now, card number 4. This is actually by far the best card, but the reason why I put it last is because I appreciate that most students aren't working. Most of us have a low credit score. Most of us won't be eligible for the top upper bracket of cards. This one is a bit more accessible to some students. I'm eligible to get it as well. I haven't applied to it yet. I'm a bit scared I'm going to get rejected, even though I'm 90% likely to be approved for it based on all the checkers I've done. I would like it to be 100 first. I don't want to risk losing my credit score. But it's a very good card to get. And this is the Amex Platinum Everyday card. Amex, or American Express, you probably heard it before. They're one of the known, they're very good for rewards. They're really generous. They're obviously quite big in America, hence the name American Express. The problem in the UK is that they're not widely used. Like Visa and MasterCard are kind of everywhere. Amex is a bit harder to find. However, for me and for some people that shop at Costco, obviously Costco's an American shop, it's eligible there. Most, I think, petrol stations accept Amex as well, so you can get around with it. It's just, of course, being aware that you can't use it everywhere as willingly as you can a Visa or MasterCard. Now, what's special about this one? Like, obviously, Amex have like a large spectrum of cards. What I like the most about Amex Platinum Everyday is, one, it's designed again for people with relatively lower credit scores. Not necessarily students. I think the lower limit is 12 grand, I think, a year. Which again, as I said, for the Amazon one, you can use that combined with like your student loan, and then a part-time job if you have one. But it's it's quite hard to get if you don't have that source of income. But the great thing about it, as I said a minute ago, Amex are known for their rewards, and on this card, it's no different. You get 5% cash back for the first 2 grand you spend, and then 1% cash back afterwards. The caveat is that you have to spend 3 grand a year. However, this card is designed for people who spend less than 10k a year. So if you're lucky enough to get a good credit limit, let's say like 2 grand, you can just stick your rent under at the end of each academic term or whatever, depending how your university works. Boom, that passes your 3k limit, and then boom, you get 5% cash back on the first 2 grand, 1% cash back on the remaining money you spend, and then you can just pocket the rest of that. free money, of course, pay it back in full at the end of each month. But it's just nice to know that you can get cash back by spending on this Amex card. And again, that's designed for people with a bit of a lower credit score. They actually say on the website that it's designed for people that spend less than 10K a year. So most of us are spending below 10K a year. If you are, for some reason, spending more than 10K a year, they have a platinum cashback, Amex Platinum cashback card as well. Instead of the everyday one, the cashback one's designed for people that spend more than 10K a year. It's not so bad. I think they have a fee on it. A £25 annual fee, so it's not really worth it if you're not going to be spending, getting spenny on that card. But the platinum everyday card is pretty cool. It's pretty useful. I'm going to apply for it very soon as I get that 100% guarantee, just out of fear. Surprisingly as well, they have the lowest APR rate of 22%. The other cards are like 30, 33, 34. Again, it's not important, but if you are going to be dumb, it's good to know that. It's good to know that you can be secure. So yeah, that's basically it. Just briefly, actually, to say as well, that 5% I said on the first £2,000 you spend, if you're quick with your numbers and maths, that adds up to about £100. £100 cash back for the first £2,000 you spend, and at 1% for the remainder. So if you only make that £3,000 limit each year to just make sure you get the cash back. By the way, that £3,000 per year that you have to spend isn't like you have to spend it or you get like killed or whatever. It's like you spend that £3,000 to get the cash back. That's it. You can, if you don't spend £3,000, don't get cash back, but you can still keep the card. But yeah, if you do spend exactly £3,000 to get the cash back, you get 100 on the first 2,000, and then £10 on the remaining 1,000, and then 1% thereafter. So £110 you can make in your first year just by using an Amex card. Why not? It's not a lot, but it gets you by. It's not a PS5 money, but it is Nintendo Switch money. So think about that the next time you get smashed at Smash by probably me. No, most of you guys. I know I'm gonna watch through most of my subscribers. We should actually get that organized subscriber Smash party. It wouldn't be fun for me because I know you're all getting smashed. I've said smashed too many times in this video. Let's wrap this up. So that's it from me. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you do have any more questions, of course, let me know down below in the comments. We're going to talk more about bank accounts and credit scores and all that finance stuff is all coming this year. Don't you worry about that. But otherwise, hope you guys have enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.